Viking fans and NFL fans everywhere. We've been offline for a little while here with the Buck Stops here. I am Greg Buck Dietzen, the host of your show, and we are here to talk a little bit of NFL playoffs. Unfortunately, my team is not in the playoff run, so we're going to talk about the teams that are. And we're going to talk about how these teams can make it to the Super Bowl. Our first game up is going to be, I think today, it looks like Seattle and Atlanta play in Atlanta. This is a game of offense versus defense. Seattle without Lockett I don't think is as good offensively. And obviously he won't be back throughout the playoffs or the Super Bowl. The running game's not as strong without Marshawn Lynch. But they still have the X factor, and that would be their quarterback, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is an amazing quarterback. I'm not a big Seattle Seahawks fan, but this guy, he can make things happen with his feet. He can make you think they're going to happen with his feet, and he's going to turn around and make the big play. They, still have Baldwin as a big receiver. I just think that the Seahawks don't have enough firepower to keep up with that Atlanta offense. And Atlanta can run the ball, and they can throw the ball. They have a great receiver. The boy from Alabama there, and I'm sorry right now, his name is just passing by. I can't think of his name. They have two great running backs, and of course their quarterback is Matt Ryan, and he can make things happen. Atlanta can put up a lot of points, and I don't see Seattle pulling off the upset this week. The way they can do it is defense and get a running game established. It doesn't look like Seattle's going to have enough firepower, though, to beat the Atlanta Falcons. I think Atlanta's going to pull this off 24-13 and move on to your NFC Divisional Championship game. The second game today is, again, another game that it's going to be defense versus a total team. The Houston Texans have a very good defense, and they can slow down the Patriots' offense. Now, Jadeveon Clowney is going to have to get to Brady and put him on his butt 4 or 5 times. If you can't put Brady on his butt, he's going to beat you. He is so smart and so quick with the release. Doesn't matter who his receivers are. He's going to be able to beat you. One thing is they don't have Gronk. The running game's not real solid, but they have running backs that can put up 100, 150-yard games at any point in time. The game plan for Belichick is the biggest thing that's going to keep Houston completely out of this game. And I think that this is just going to be a stomp. I think your Patriots are going to pull this game off easily. Tom Brady, you got to understand, his last Super Bowl win, everybody's talking about Deflategate. And would they have beat the Colts? And they crushed them like 34-3 or something. But everybody was talking, well, they cheated to get through that game. They shouldn't have made it to the Super Bowl. And so Brady's got a chip on his shoulder the size of Texas. I'd say New England, but Texas is still bigger. So, Brady's coming into this game saying, there's just nobody that's going to beat me. Eli's out of the playoffs thanks to the Packers. So, who's Brady got to fear? So, I see New England taking this at home 34-10. It's just not even going to be close. That offense is going to be clicking, and they're going to keep the defense away from Brady. And Osweiler's just not a guy to go into a shootout. He's not armed to be a shootout type of guy. So, sorry Texans fans, maybe next year, but not this year. You're not going to get to play the Super Bowl in your own stadium. Now we got some big games coming up, and I think these are the bigger two of the games. On Sunday, you've got Green Bay at Dallas and Pittsburgh at KC. And actually, the Pittsburgh-KC game was moved to late because of inclement weather. I guess it's going to snow in Kansas City, and they've never had that before. Okay, a little sarcasm there. But they want to make sure that people can get to and from, and it's not a danger to them. And so the Pittsburgh game got moved to late. Dallas fans, several things. I know I have some close friends that they've been Dallas fans since I've known them. I got a friend that I've met down here in Tennessee. He's been a Dallas fan since I've known him. And the ones that I'm talking to right now have been Dallas fans, win or lose, glory days or not. But the reason I don't like the Cowboys is the same reason I don't like Bama. By the way, excellent job. Clemson taking out the Crimson Tide. Roll Tears, baby. Roll Tears. That getting out of the way. I don't like Dallas because a lot of their fans hide. They just Dallas isn't winning, so they kind of are quiet, sit back. I'm a Viking fan. I'm arrogant. We got the best running back in football. We got 2 really good quarterbacks here. I mean, I love my team. Win or lose, we started out 5-0, but I knew we had offensive line problems, and I wasn't sure if we were going to make the playoffs, and I didn't know if we could make a long run without Peterson and Bridgewater, and 80% of our offensive line switched out every other week. I think we had a great season. I'm going to follow my team if we're 0-16 or if we're 16-0. If we go 16-0 and lose the Super Bowl, Patriots. Or if we go 8-8 and win the Super Bowl, I'm behind my team no matter what. I'm going to talk trash about my team to help my team, for my team, not against them, obviously. But the Cowboy fans, they go into hiding when they're losing. Oh, well, Tony Romo was hurt, and if we'd had Tony Romo, I could say that too. Bridgewater was hurt. Peterson was hurt. Half our line was hurt. Our defensive players, because they were on the field so much, were hurt in and out all season long. Excuses. Next man up, play the game. You can't rely on one guy for your team to be great. And let's face it, Romo's never won the big game. He chokes when it comes down to it. But I don't like the Cowboys because when they're winning, it's like, oh, we're the greatest team in the world and nobody can beat us. And oh, we are super awesome. And when they're not winning, nobody says anything. We were 5-0. We were the best team in football, and I was ecstatic and I bragged about it. And then we went to 5-1 and 5-2 and 5-3, and I was like, well, okay, we're not as good as I thought we were. We've got a lot of holes. Still going to follow my team. I'm still going to root for them. There were some games where there's some bad penalties maybe cost us, but if we had played better and it wasn't close, it wouldn't have mattered. All in all, I don't know who to pick in this game. The Cowboys, I think they've got a great core. Dak Prescott, excellent young quarterback. He can make things happen with his feet. Reminds me of a young Russell Wilson. Not that Russell Wilson's that old, but... And then they have Ezekiel Elliott. Led the league in rushing, I believe. Rookie running back out of Ohio State. And I tried to tell the Dallas fans I know that was an excellent pick. And it sure proved to be. Of course, they have an incredible offensive line. And that's going to hurt, Green Bay a little bit if they can't get to Dak and try and get him out of his game plan. There is Clay Matthews to deal with, though, and he seems to be able to get through any offensive line and be able to get to any quarterback and be able to slow down any running back, and he's just an amazing linebacker, and I hate to say it. So I don't like Dallas because their fans, when they're not winning, they're just bleh. And when they are winning, they're the greatest thing in the world. We shouldn't have lost that game. They're 13-3. They lost twice to the Giants. I know they're glad the Giants are out of the playoffs. But they're not going to tell you that. Plain and simple. And I don't like Green Bay strictly because I bleed purple. So, I hate to say this, though. I think Green Bay, they're the hottest team in football right now. And I just don't think Dallas has an answer for Aaron Rodgers. Even without Jordy Nelson, Green Bay's got a running game that they didn't have when Dallas met with them back in week 4 or 5 or whatever week they met. Green Bay was held to 16 points. But I see the Packers winning this and going on to play the Falcons in Atlanta, who they also lost to the Falcons. And it seems like a revenge thing for Green Bay. But I think your NFC Championship game is definitely going to be, this hurts to say, the Green Bay Packers at the Atlanta Falcons. The next game is a huge game because either one of these teams have the capability of beating the New England Patriots. And that is another team that I don't know. I liked when they started winning back when they first started winning, when Kraft first bought the team, because they couldn't win to save their lives. They got annihilated by the Bears in a Super Bowl in '85, and that was their only glory run. Otherwise, they were just fodder. Everybody beat up on them. It's like, oh, the Patriots, we got a week off. And so when they started winning, it was great. But now, it's just like every year, nobody, first of all, can win that AFC East. Nobody. There's not a team that's competed with it. The Miami was the closest this year, and it's been in 10 years. The Jets, a few years back, tried, but the Patriots are just the dominant team in the NFL. And that's the reason I don't like them. That is strictly it. That is the only reason I don't like them. So, that's my opinion. That's my option. That's my, So down to this game. Kansas City. Pretty good defense. They've got that West Coast offense. And here's the thing. Everybody's on Alex Smith. He is not a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. Well, he's gotten them this far. He won them the division. They didn't have Jamal Charles, their great running back, and they had to fill in with Spencer Ware and a few other guys, and Spencer Ware had a great year. They rely on Kels, their tight end, and they have a few receivers that they can get the ball to, but mainly it's dip and dunk and see what we can do from there, and it seems to work. Enter the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and a defense that always seems to step up when they need to. Pittsburgh, to me, is like Green Bay. They kind of flew under the radar all year, and they made it into the playoffs, and guess what? Pittsburgh's going to go into Kansas City, in the snow, in the cold. They're going to beat them by 10, 24-14. The Chiefs aren't going to have enough firepower. Le'Veon Bell's going to have a big game. Antonio Brown and Big Ben are going to have big games. And Pittsburgh is going to pull out the win and supposed upset in Kansas City. And they're going to go on to meet the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. And my prediction, and we can change this next week when we do our second round of the playoff preview, but my prediction here is going to be Green Bay versus Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl. And Pittsburgh's going to beat the Packers to stop Aaron Rodgers' run because, baby, Purple Rain has got to come back next year to take our division, and we got to put the Packers on a loss going into next year. So Pittsburgh's going to win your Super Bowl. They're going to have a close game, but they're going to beat the Green Bay Packers, and Pittsburgh will be your Super Bowl champions. Right now, that's my prediction. So Pittsburgh will beat New England. That'll be a close game. I don't want to give a prediction until I can see how they both played, make sure there's no injuries coming out of the games, and Green Bay will beat Atlanta. And again, no predictions yet. We'll see who's healthy, who's not. Is Jordy Nelson going to make it back for the championship game when they beat Dallas? And again, Dallas fans, I only dislike the Cowboys because some of your fans are just like, and I'm sure every team has them, but because Dallas is America's team, you see it more. I do like Dak Prescott. I do like Ezekiel Elliott, and the Cowboys are going to be a team to contend with for years to come simply because they've got a great offensive line, their defense is getting better, and they have these two young key guys at the two key positions. I'm a big advocate of having a running game. You can't just win with the pass, which is why the Packers weren't winning with the best quarterback in football because they had no running game. Now they've got a running game, and guess what? They're a much better team. Plain and simple. Green Bay, Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl. Pittsburgh's going to win it. That's my decision. Now, enough of the football talk. I want to talk a little bit wrestling. WWE. I know, some of you think it's fake, but let me pick you up and body slam you and see if you don't get hurt. Let me pick you up and throw you into a turnbuckle and see if you don't get hurt, or you do it to me. The outcomes might be decided, but the whole wrestling part of it is real. It's drama, and it's fun, and it's just great to watch. We got the Royal Rumble coming up. Now, I haven't watched Monday Night Raw or Tuesday Night SmackDown Live, but I can tell you that what I have been watching, there's some big things coming. I think Roman Reigns is going to take the Universal Championship away from Kevin Owens, and I'm not sure if Roman's lost his United States title. I know Monday night he had to go against Jericho and Kevin Owens, a 2-on-1 match. If one of them pins him, they get his USA title. United States title, sorry. I don't know what happened there, but I could see Roman losing it. Seth Rollins has entered the Royal Rumble. You've got Goldberg. You've got Braun Strowman. You've got, who else is in there? Brock Lesnar. You got some big guns in there, and there might be a couple surprises in there too. Baron Corbin's entered from SmackDown Live. Going to be some fun. I see Charlotte losing her belt and maybe slowly falling out of the title picture and using her as a heel to just stress out other people. Or possibly, you've got to have Charlotte meet up with Nia Jax. Sorry about that. I think that would be a good match, but they're both heels, so I don't see it happening anytime soon. Some surprises? They're still trying to make John Cena a heel. Ain't going to happen. The Shield, somewhere in 2017, I think are going to be on the same show and maybe have a 4 to 6 month run together just to cause a stink. Maybe after WrestleMania, Roman loses his title to Goldberg. Something crazy will happen. Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin will become world champions at some point in 2017, if not early 2018. Who's going to come in and beat Braun Strowman? That's the question. And you might have to have somebody like Big Cass break away from the tag with Enzo. And I don't know what you would do with Enzo at that point. Maybe have him be his manager. Maybe have him be... I don't know. Enzo's a great speaker. You can watch the Royal Rumble on the WWE Network. WWE Network is $9.99 a month, and your first month is free. So if you sign up today, you can get the hours and hours and hundreds of hours of WWE/WWF. I'm not supposed to say that. All the history, all the libraries, all the WrestleManias, all the Royal Rumbles. You can watch it all. My son, I know he watches. He's been watching all the old Royal Rumbles, checking them out. And he goes on WWE Network to pull those up and watch them. It's $9.99 a month. First month is free, which means you will get this Royal Rumble pay-per-view absolutely free. It's 2 weeks from tomorrow. 2 weeks from tomorrow, the Royal Rumble, and you would get it for free. You can't lose. Go to WWE.com/network and sign up today. So that was my quick WWE talk. You're going to see some big changes, some big surprises. There's a man coming back, Finn Balor. Not sure what they're going to do with him yet. And there's got to be some heel turns. And it looks like Dolph Ziggler might have already done that. He might be jumping to heel. And they may be doing that to give him a WWE title run. John Cena at the Royal Rumble will get his Ric Flair tying 16th world champion from AJ Styles. He's lost to him 2 or 3 times already. It's been a big rival. Styles is not that much younger than Cena, so I can't see them making him the new face. They got to find somebody eventually. But Styles has been wrestling for years and years and years, and he is phenomenal. Hence the phenomenal one. But so is John Cena. And they always have John Cena come back and somehow redeem himself. And that's what's going to happen here. Royal Rumble, we'll do a little more talk next show, probably next week. And the last bit here, I want to add some ABL talk. That's right, the ABL is back in full, and the Buckster is back in the ABL with his Orlando Sharks. Now, we're not going to make a lot of noise this year. Going into the draft, looks like I have one of the weaker teams. The only thing I have going for me is I'm unorthodox. And a big trade that was made, thanks to Don Allen, the legend Jr., not Junior Legend, Don Allen Jr., the legend. We now have Billy Hamilton, the fastest player in the ABL, probably in the major leagues, but he is now a Shark, starting center fielder, and just watch out for what he's going to do. There's been a lot of talk on Twitter. He could have the single-season ABL base steal record. You never know. You don't know what Buck's going to do until Buck does it. Buck don't know what he's going to do until he does it. Simply speaking, ABL, look out for it. We also just made a trade. I haven't had the approval come through yet from the commish, but we just picked up a very, very good defensive third baseman with some power. Favorite third baseman of mine. I've had him several times on my team, Adrian Beltre. I might have given up a little bit for him. I gave up Victor Martinez to help DH for Duran Allen's club, the Orca Coke team. And I hope I said that right, Orca Coke. But he needed the DH, so I offered him Martinez and my 5th round pick. So going into the draft, I'm still one of the weakest teams. But the way I play ball, I'm going to get some wins in there maybe when I shouldn't. We're scrappy, we're fighting, and I'm not planning to win it all this year. I will tell you, looking at the teams coming in, the defending champion, Seabay Channel Cats, look real good right now. Tallahassee Terriers look pretty good. If you want to go to the American League, you've got the Syracuse Hazard, which my co-host, who's not here today, he's getting wedding ready and he's got to work tonight, and I don't think he even knew I was going to do this show. Sorry, Coop. His Syracuse Hazard look real good in the American League. And, of course, the defending American League Division champion, Skibby Bomasode's team, the LBI Starfish, they look real good as well. So there's some really good teams in there, and there's a couple expansion teams, the Albany Low Sox and the Orlando Sharks. And I think we're both going to struggle. I don't know much about Albany. I know he took over a team last year, and he did a pretty good job with the team he took over. I think he made the playoffs. But, again, when you start with an expansion team, you have to start with what's on that team and go into the draft. And some of these teams draft and already have some positions filled. So look out. There'll be more ABL talk coming along, but my season's been made. I got Billy Hamilton. That was one of the biggest things I wanted to do. I'm going to pick up Jose Peraza as my first pick number 2 in the draft, unless Coop tricks me and jumps in and grabs him first. Not sure what I'm going to do in my second round. Kind of don't want to give things away, but I got a couple players in mind. Maybe another infielder. I got my eye on an outfielder. I got my eye on a catcher, first baseman. And there's some pitching that if you get it early, you can get some good pitching. Not a lot of great pitching in the ABL anywheres, so I can still upgrade my staff in the 4th, 5th, or 6th round. But if these guys start picking pitchers early, I could be in trouble because it's not on my game plan to start. But a game plan is only what it is, and you always change it as you see things going against you. That's what makes a good manager, correct? This is the Buck Stops Here. I am Greg Buck Dietzen, your host. You can reach me on Twitter. I changed my Twitter handle, and I think it is TBSH. So, at TBSH, that's my Twitter for the Buck Stops Here. And, of course, you can always reach me an email at ablsharks at gmail.com. So, feel free to give me some information. My show's not back permanently on a weekly basis, but there's playoff time in NFL, and I could not turn up the chance. I don't want y'all to think that, well, his Vikings crashed and burned and they didn't make the playoffs, and so he's not going to do his show anymore. Because that's not true. I'm just saying I am a true blue, purple Viking fan, and just because we didn't make the playoffs doesn't mean I'm not going to continue to do my show. I would love to hear from people on things you want me to just sit here and gab and talk about. The show's much better when I have Jason Coop Capello here with me. We can banter back and forth, and he can give me his ideas. So, quick roundup here. Playoffs coming. I don't see Dallas winning. I think Green Bay takes that game. I see Atlanta beating Seattle. I see New England just annihilating Houston. And Pittsburgh's going to upset KC. So next week in the divisional championships, you're going to see Pittsburgh beat New England in New England. Green Bay's going to go into Atlanta and take out the Falcons. Your Super Bowl will be the Steelers and the Packers. And the yellow and black Green Bay Packers are going to pull off the win. That's my prediction today. Thank you for watching. The Buck Stops Here. And we'll see you again next week. Skol, Viking fans. Skol!